on the 19th of February in the year 2025, Palesa Madisakwane would do something not a lot of people saw coming. You see, in a candid interview on the Hell and Back podcast with Boldy Owami, Palesa would detail numerous challenges that she faced while co-parenting with Somizi. And in fact, she would recount that upon learning of her pregnancy, Somizi urged her to terminate it, and he later denied the paternity, insisting on a DNA test to confirm that Bahumi was his child.
Now, I'm trying to look for this guy whom, in my mind, whom I know, this one made me pregnant, and then this guy now ulala dark and divey. Hi vela what if aksumtwanami? Hi vele, you know what I mean? So
it was a lot. I'm sorry.
It was a lot. Palesa ufunugu mbamba ngomntwana. How can a gay give birth to a child? And they are business people that are serious with their lives. They don't have time to sit around banse batlo shebana le di posts sabatu banse ba comment and talk about Somizi that I'm like, that's Somizi, it's also Somizi go and wena ke go fan ya hae.
But guys uSomizi aka support umntwana, aka support ubani konje muhawu na guys umuhawu oh aka support Bahumi. So ngicela ukuthi donate ama 20 rand at least akhona kumhirela i-room eTembisa uBahuma khona kuyogcwala eMall of Africa.
Wow. We see you glowing.
Palesa.
Well, like wow,
Palesa Palesa amnika imali. Okay. Hayi umntwana akhe uphila lavish. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I thought like Bahumi has like a mansion somewhere. She drives a very nice car because we know her father drives like extravagant, not just one but many cars.
At that time, he said he doesn't believe it's her child.
In this interview, Palesa would delve into a lot of deep and dark secrets that were held from the public for so long. But a question that's on my mind, and that's on the minds of so many South Africans, is why now? Why is it that she's coming out with this explosive expose now? What has pushed her to come to this decision? And many of you might be surprised that this is not the beginning of the troubles, because this stuff goes all the way back. And let me tell you, it gets pretty messy.
Yabona munye umuntu solo bazama umuyisa haya gawe. Hayi Somizi, hayi lo muntu akawiseki. Bayawala abanye left right kuvela tikandala kuye kwendekana sola kawo. Last man standing.
I mean, there was even a time, I'm not going to get into the details, but it actually really broke it broke me. It touched a part of me that I didn't even unpack this with my father. And he said, his exact words were, no, don't be like me. And I think I didn't expect him to say, don't be like me, because I thought he was just going to say, no, this is not the right this. But he said it with such conviction. He was like, I don't want you to be like me.
Bahumi is not financially stable even now. Bahumi doesn't have a place to stay in. Bahumi stays with me, her mother, at the moment. Bahumi drives my car. Bahumi nale na rekopansari Uber when she has to go to auditions, and it's good that she's hustling like any other child.
So for a better understanding of the timeline between Palesa and Somizi and even their child Bahumi, and the reason why there's so much seemingly animosity between the two at this current moment, we have to go a bit back to the 1990s when these two would meet. So in the early 1990s, Palesa and Somizi would enter into a romantic relationship, and this would lead to Palesa's pregnancy. And unbeknownst to Palesa at the time, Somizi was grappling with his sexual identity. So we know that this is the early 1990s, and Somizi is a huge rising star in South Africa. And we all know that he was battling with his sexual identity as a person. And this couldn't have come at a more tumultuous time for Somizi. But if we skip over to 1995, something interesting happens, because Bahumi, which is their child, is born on this year. And upon learning of the pregnancy, Somizi allegedly denies paternity, and he requires a DNA test to confirm the fatherhood.
And I remember at that time they told us to come back for the paternity test, because he says he doesn't believe. At that time he said he doesn't believe it's her child, and we had to go for paternity tests.
It seems that by 1995, things were not going pretty well between the two because Somizi is allegedly seen or heard denying the paternity of his daughter Bahumi, and this would rub Palesa the wrong way, and this is something she would keep within herself for a number of years. But in the late 1990s, this would be the beginning of financial challenges because Palesa would take legal action against Somizi for child support.
I had to take him to maintenance court, and that was so embarrassing at that time, as young as I was, you know, having to go and queue for hours, go and back court. At that time, I remember I was even known, as much as I wasn't yet Gogo Generations, but I had started acting even there, but I had to stand on that queue at around 7 years old, and then also Kilo Quella for maintenance court.
It seems that during this time, Palesa and Somizi had decided mutually that it would be best to just part ways. In fact, they hadn't spoken to each other for a number of years. And all of a sudden, in 2025, a bombshell interview drops on the internet. And it would have many people wondering what is going on between these two. But not only these two, now Bahumi, Somizi's child, has been included. And things get pretty messy.
I needed to work myself up. I needed to make sure I feed this baby. I needed to make sure I clothe the baby. I needed to make sure, you know, I would maybe take 20 rand and go look for a job. Maybe Lena at that time, he was young, he was confused, he was not ready, you know, to father a child or to find out, hey, you know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know. And I've never known him to be, you know,
responsible like that.
Responsible like that, or when it comes to even his daughter, you know, yes, to the public he's like that. To the public, just like he would go and spend parties, study champagne, you know what I mean? There would be champagnes, expensive bottle of champagne. But when my daughter comes back from that party, she doesn't even have enough Uber money. Sure. I'm even talking about the recent party. You know what I mean? So let that money be spent on whoever, on young boys. It's okay. It's his life. But all the young boys,
Hey.
In this interview, she would talk about a lot of things that have really troubled her in raising Bahumi without the clear support of Somizi. And after this interview aired, many people would take to social media to express their frustrations and their viewpoints on this interview that Palesa has dropped, with comments like, Somizi is accused of failing daughter Bahumi. Somizi Mhlongo faces backlash over claims that he neglects his 30-year-old daughter Bahumi, and her mother, Palesa, says that Bahumi struggles financially, often relying on Uber rides as she owns no car or even a home, despite Somizi's wealth. However, people even in these comment sections were not very sympathetic to Palesa's plight on behalf of Bahumi, because you would even have comments saying, she's 30 years old, why can't she get a car of her own and a house if those are essentials for her? We have to stop being entitled to people's things, even that of your parents. Create your own legacy. You can't be 30 and expect your parents to fund your car or even your home. And you'd even have more comments like, Mara 30 years or Mosadi, you're on your own, gaining 356 likes. And even more comments like, see the entitlement of women? When you have money, she's expecting him to buy that daughter a car, buy her a house, but she must work smart to own those things herself. Finish and clear. Don't make us side with Somizi. But you would also have much deeper comments stating, Bahumi is a very beautiful young lady, but she can't act. Her mama can though. The acting gigs she got, people have always said that it's because of who her father is, and because of her bad acting. I believe that. Many people were not quick to side with Bahumi in this matter of the fact that Palesa said that she's 30 years old, but she doesn't even own a house or even a car. So it raises a good point. Why isn't Bahumi working or even studying to ensure that she can stand on her own financially? However, through all this controversy that Somizi is currently facing right now, many people are still waiting for him to respond to these current allegations that were made in this interview.
I don't bother nobody. I try to treat everybody the same, but every time I turn my back, they scandalize my name. Oh, master, you don't have to move your mountains.
it seems as though the relationship between him and his daughter is still on good terms. While they may not see eye to eye on many issues, it seems like Bahumi really does love her father. And it seems like she's very understanding of the position and role Somizi has and the battles and challenges he himself is going through as his father. But whether you believe that Somizi should be more involved in Bahumi's life, like buying her a car and a house, or whether you believe that Bahumi should be standing on her own and owning her own things and buying her own stuff, one thing remains for sure, and that's the fact that Somizi loves his daughter very much. And I don't doubt for a fact that Bahumi loves her father very much. Things can get tricky when you're dealing with celebrity personalities and fame and even the internet, but one thing remains for certain: this is a family, and through all the turmoil they go through, they should be able at the end of the day to have a discussion and come together as one.